My installer never connected up the AC backup output from my Solis inverter, and now they've gone out of business. Time to do it myself. Hi, I'm Chris and welcome to the channel. One of the top 5 reasons people give for investing in solar is the resilience and electricity supply that can come from suitably configured battery backup. Whilst we don't tend to suffer from grid outages very often in this area, touch wood, and power is usually restored in very quick order, I thought it was probably about time I got round to connecting up my AC backup. Now this isn't going to result in an all-singing, all-dancing automated switchover facility, but something a lot simpler. Just a couple of 13 amp socket outlets that I can plug extension leads into and then run into the house to, for example, power the fridge freezers, provide a bit of light, etc. I'll include some estimates at the end of the video for how long my current batteries can support some typical load scenarios. But in the meantime, let's get started. Oh, and one final thing. This video is not an instructional how to do it guide. It's purely for entertainment. Electricity is dangerous and can be fatal, so you should always seek advice from suitably qualified persons, such as a registered electrician. Right, with that out of the way, let's crack on. Starting with the simplified schematic from the Solis Inverter manual, we can see there are 2 AC output paths. The lower, referred to as the grid side AC output, is for normal operation and is connected to both the load, that's the house, and the grid. The upper, referred to as the backup AC output, is intended to supply critical loads, i.e. those where the AC power needs to be maintained in the case of a grid outage. The schematic indicates that a circuit breaker and RCD, residual current device, should be incorporated in each of the 2 paths to provide the appropriate levels of protection. Rather than use a separate circuit breaker and RCD, however, I've chosen to install a single RCBO, that's a residual current circuit breaker with overcurrent protection, which fulfills the functions of both those other devices. So here's my box of goodies, some 2.5mm square 3-core flex, had that already, a 2-module metal enclosure for my RCBO, the RCBO itself, right way up, 16 amp, a few bits and bobs, cable glands, 2 different sizes, some earth connection bars, might not need either of those, but they're fairly cheap to buy. That's just the box for the RCBO, and this little tinker, which is the connector required to connect to the underside of the Solis inverter, and getting in the bag is almost as difficult as it was getting the connector, but more of that in a bit, so we'll have a look at that in more detail. And somewhere, probably here, is a dual 13 amp metal enclosure. Everything is listed in the description if you're interested. Most of the stuff came from Screwfix, with the exception of the connector for the Solis inverter. So broadly speaking, my layout's going to be inverter over here, cable's going to come out from the underside, round here into the bottom of the metal enclosure, RCBO inside, switched or controlled output up to 13 amp through the central point. Well, they're more or less where I wanted them. The main thing was I wanted to keep sufficient clearance here between the sign of the inverter and the enclosure. Obviously the 13 amp outlet would be better if it had been directly vertical above, but hey ho, there's only me who's going to see it, along with 3 YouTube viewers. You never know, it might be 4. Nifty little tool I've just bought myself, only $8.99. Seems to do a reasonable job of removing the sheath. I'll take about that much off, not too much. Let's get it on there. So whilst I'm fitting this connector, I'll just mention what it is, as I initially had some difficulty finding out the correct part number and where to get it from. It's a 3-pole 25 amp male connector from Veland Electric's RST Classic range. I'm not sure if that's how you say it, by the way. RST2513S. I've included full details in the description, along with a link, although I'm not sure you can buy directly from Veland themselves. In the end, Solis were kind enough to supply me with one free of charge, once I'd explained that my installer had gone out of business. I'm going to put a little bit of heat shrink on. Never throw away old hair dryers, assuming they're still working, of course. I should click on, like so. There we go, one end made. Just the other end to connect into the RCBO when we fitted that. The 25mm glands for the metal enclosure were too large to tighten up onto the cable, so I built up the diameter with a few layers of heat shrink, or I guess you could use insulation tape. Hopefully that should do. I'm going to give it a try. Yeah, I've tried that, it's perfect. One thing I realised is that I didn't bell these connections out from here to here, so I'll just temporarily strip these. Earth, live, and neutral. It's too twisty, this cable. Yep, all good. And we're ready to connect the final stage, the RCBO, out to the 13 amp outlet. Right, the first thing you might just pick up on is my OCD has got the better of me, and I've repositioned the outlet so it's in line with the gland below. Makes the cable routing a little bit easier. And I've also realised I forgot to allow for an extra earth, I don't know if you can see that, earth cable coming up through the gland, but hopefully we should still be able to squeeze it in. I thought it was a little bit easier to strip the earth cable and get it fastened in before I route the other cable in. That's better. Let me double check. So our live in goes at the bottom, and we need to join our neutral with this. Do that in a minute. But we need to get the earth cable onto the bar. Okay, it's live. Now in a larger consumer unit, we'd have a neutral bar that we could join this to the common neutral, but not in this size of enclosure. We don't need that. So I'm going to use a Vargo 221. Hopefully you've seen enough of this to see what I'm doing rather than the back of my head. I've prepped a piece of cable. Again, I've built up the diameter here to suit that gland. Has anybody spotted my deliberate mistake? I've not left my earth lead long enough. I think we can sort that out with another Vargo. Maybe if enough of you watch this video, I'll earn enough ad revenue to buy myself a pair of Nipex pliers. Another Vargo, this time on the earth. Oh, proper electricians call it CPC these days. Okay. Just the last two on here. So live out, left hand side. Neutral out on the right hand side. Do some basic ringing out. Earth. Yep. Yep. Neutral. Good. Live. Good. Okay. Here goes nothing. Right, we're plugged into the inverter. 248. I don't know if you can see that. So we've got AC coming into the RCBO. Let's try switching it on. 248 to earth, to neutral. Yeah. Okay, I've plugged my little doohickey in. Okay, what happens if we flick the breaker? Happens if we test the... Yeah. Okay. Faceplate. Got blanking plate on one side. Okay, time for a real world test. Switch it on. That on. That should be coming from our batteries. And it's not a lot, but you can see some power flowing out on the emergency circuit. So what do we get in return for that effort and around £45 spent on parts? Well, here's the spec table from the inverter manual, but in essence we get a 3 kilowatt 13 amp output to play with. Given we currently have 11.8 kilowatt hour of battery storage capacity, what load could we support and for how long in the case of a grid outage? Now clearly this is just an example, and your energy usage will depend on your own personal circumstances, but it suggests that our current battery capacity could meet this admittedly limited demand for around 48 hours. That assumes, of course, the batteries were fully charged when the grid supply failed, and that we don't discharge them below 20%. And of course, if the sun shines even a little bit, the batteries will get topped up to some degree. We have a gas hob and fire, so could cook and keep at least one room warm. Gas central heating as well, but then the boiler won't work without an electrical supply, and we couldn't just plug it into an extension lead. So maybe a little bit more thought is required on that one. But as I said at the start, we've been lucky enough to have never experienced a significant grid outage. However, there's no harm in being prepared, as the Scouts would say. Well, I think I'll call this one done. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up if you liked it, as that'll help it reach a wider audience. And if you're not already subscribed, go on, live dangerously and hit that subscribe button. See you next time. Cheers.